forgot my mic. I forgot my mic. Okay. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, guys, yo, it's been an interesting day. A lovely, lovely day. Like a very, very lovely day. Let's get some cards ready. So, the whole concept of seeing your power and realizing their miscalculations. I guess someone tried you. I guess someone thought that they could, and now they're realizing they can't. That you've been playing small, and they totally got bamboozled about how big of a deal you actually are. Good. I'm proud of you. I am proud of you. Good job. Let's see what the cards have to say. It's funny. Yesterday or the day before, I don't remember when. Last time I went to the gym and then I was talking to you guys about it, and there was this person that was there that was like literally trying to intimidate me as a male. That's redonkulous. If you are a male and you're trying to intimidate a female, that says a lot about you. It does. It says a lot about you, not the female, about you. So, long story short, I saw that guy again at the gym today, and I totally was just like, you know what? Let me just tell the front, the workers, that, what exactly happened the day before with that individual, just so, they're aware that if I start getting loud and there is tussling happening, y'all know what it's about. Because I'm not going to be letting people treat me just any type of way. I stay in my lane, of course. I stay in my lane. But the amazing thing was that as soon as I told the front, that led to a conversation with the manager, the gym manager. And it turns out that she actually competes. She competes. So now I have a potential gym bestie, and I'm very satisfied with that. That not only the gym bestie situation, which I do really like that because she's already competed and she can give me some tips and stuff, but and we're going to be working out together. It was this thing of um just kind of interacting with some of the other regulars at that particular gym, and that guy, he's starting to realize that that was not my first time at that gym. That you're not going to intimidate me. So he sees the manager chit chatting with me for a while, where I'm at. She was mad. She was mad. She's like, no, they can't be treating you like this. You're like the least problematic member that we have. You would just stay in your own lane. You don't even make noise. She pointed out that I don't make noise. She said that she's walked around and seen me hip thrusting crazy weights, and I don't even make any noise. Like, I do it silently. So, like, no, she's on my side. And I was like, oh, okay. But it's this thing of recognizing I'm not going to allow my focus to be dragged into a space of negativity. There are a lot of really nice people that go to that specific gym, like really, really lovely. So when we relate my experience to your in real life circumstance, maybe something that's been happening as of late, something that doesn't typically happen, but the energies have just been super duper weird. It becomes this thing of, are you allowing someone who is super duper negative to drag you into that negativity without your awareness? where you're giving passive permission, you got to be very aware of where you're allowing your energy to go. You do. So the title, Seeing Your Power and Realizing Their Miscalculations. Your power lies in how you choose to use your energy and your focus and your time. My husband absolutely wanted to go up to the guy and punk him, and I was like, don't bother. Like, just don't bother. It's a whole different story if he's going to come up to me again and, try and be an absolute jerk to me again, but don't initiate things. It's one thing to stand your ground, right? And it's a whole nother thing to be the initiator, the instigator. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be that. So maybe part of what's happening, I got my senses are getting overwhelmed. It's too much energy. Maybe part of what's happening is you just kind of becoming fully aware that what you're needing to do is be very intentional with your energy, with your consent, with your focus, and your time, of course, as well. Your time is very important. What was potentially another negative experience, it became something super de duper positive, like super de duper positive. I was joking around with some of the other members who are longtime members. They have their own little club and stuff. They chit chat with each other, and I was just like, I want to be part of the bestiehood. They were cracking up. But it's a thing of, what are you going to do with the triggers that are presented to you? The triggers that have been triggered. For me, usually I'll be in a space of struggling to not remain in a combative mindset, in an aggressive defensive mindset. That used to be a major struggle for me. As I've grown and I've begun to consciously choose to reclaim more of my personal power, it's become a thing of, no one gets to tell me what my mood will be today. That is a choice only I can make. People can be however they are. You get to choose how you're going to be in their presence, or if you're not going to even allow yourself to be present for their caca. Some things you don't need to be present for, right? Some things you kind of just need to allow yourself to enter into a space of like, okay, I'm not going to be part of none of this. I just need to make sure that I stay in a space of neutral observation of myself. Because for many people, you don't realize that, you're allowing yourself to get carried away by other people's BS. You have to make a choice, okay? These opportunities to make choices, they're going to begin presenting themselves to you over the next several days, if not several weeks and several months. So for many of you, it's trying to find a balance for that masculine energy that you already have in you. We all have both masculine and feminine energy, and that masculine and feminine energy, it really, whatever is primary, it's highly contingent on how you're holding yourself in the space you're occupying. So if you're having to feel as though you need to consistently protect yourself, you need to always have to explain yourself and fight for your voice to be heard, this masculine energy is going to be one that's in reverse. It's going to be an upside down energy. It's going to create a lot of distortions within you. Now, if you are faced with a circumstance that is largely out of your control, the initiation of it is largely out of your control, and you choose to instead be very present in what you're choosing to participate in, that masculine energy can serve in the way that it's intended to serve, where you do have a voice. You use your voice responsibly. You exercise and flex your power. And those who are testing you, those who are trying, they're going to see real quick, like, I don't think so. You ain't going to get jack shit. No, I'm not intimidated. It's hilarious because I didn't realize that someone from the front would tell another gym member who just arrived about some of the drama that was happening and was trying to be forced onto me, right? And like, so I go to put some of my weights back because I'm done. I'm exhausted. I just kind of want to finish out my arms and go home. And I walk past the Smith machine. I have to put my weights back. And there's this guy who just arrived, and he's like this huge bodybuilder guy. And he's kind of blocking the way that I had used to get to the weight rack. And so I was going to go around the other way because I mean, he's setting up. So I don't want to be in anyone's way. And as I was kind of modifying my path, he goes, "Hey, come here, come here." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, what?" Because like, are you going to start with me? Please don't start with me. And he kind of leans in. He goes, "Hey, so I heard about someone trying to like tell you, what you can use and how to work out and stuff. Someone's like messing with your workout." And I was like, "Oh, were you there when they were, trying to intimidate me? Did you hear me get loud with them?" And he goes, "No, no, no, no. Someone in the front told me." And I was like, "Oh yeah, no. It's just one of those things, right?" And he goes, "Is the dude here?" And I the guy was near us. I was like, "Yeah, he's right there." I pointed, I pointed at him. I know he was watching me through the mirror. And so this large bodybuilding guy looks over and he's like, "Man, why can't dudes just chill and leave the women alone? Let them work out. If you mind in your own business, none of that needs to happen." And I was like, it's this thing of he was trying to intimidate me, but it's like, "Sir, I'm not intimidated by you. I can deadlift you." And the bodybuilder guy's like hella cracked it up. He goes, "I heard that." I said, "Hopefully he heard that too." And then I went back to my workout. People will realize how powerful you are within yourself and within your journey when you stand your ground and not try and match their energy. Are you the temperature of the room or are you the thermostat? This is a saying that I came across some time ago, where don't try and modify the temperature of the room. Don't try and influence it. Instead, function as a thermostat. That's tremendous power. That is tremendous power that you are exercising over yourself and your journey. You guys notice, if you are new to me, this is something that you will see. I never encourage people to try and dominate others. Now, if you swerving into my lane trying to be dominant with me, I will show you just how dominant I am over myself and my life. I will not tell you what to do, but I promise you will walk away knowing you're not going to tell me jack diddly squat about nothing unless you're very peacefully just trying to bring my attention to something that I need to pay attention to, right? Being a sovereign is not about dominating other people. Being a sovereign is about recognizing your power over yourself. It does not extend to other people, but just because it doesn't extend to other people does not mean other people can invade your space, your experience, and expect zero consequence from you. That is how you show your power. That is how you show your power. So, without confronting this individual in any way, shape, or form, they became aware just by observing me. And I know they were watching me the whole time they were at the gym again. Um, yeah, no, I'm actually loved at this gym. I don't mess with anyone. I don't. I don't create any problems. And if you're going to try and create a problem for me, not only do I have the capacity to stand up for myself, which I showed him the first time, but there are many people in this gym who will also speak up. Should the need arise, they will speak up for me. That's how you exercise your power. Just by knowing the type of circumstance, the type of environment, connections that you've cultivated. It's important. There's no need to run away from things, and there's no need to necessarily run right towards it, right? So this morning, my husband was like, I asked my husband, "Which gym do you want to go to?" And then he goes, "Well, you wanted to assert your dominance, right?" And I was like, you're such a shit starter. He's a Gemini. What do you expect? What? No, he was like, you wanted to assert your dominance, right? So I went to that gym knowing whatever is going to happen is going to happen. I'm not inviting any of that, but I'm not going to run away from it. I'm not. That's why I didn't decide which gym we would go to, because I couldn't figure out, if I go to the other gym, is it because they have the equipment that I want to use today? Or is it because I'm trying to avoid something? And if I'm trying to avoid it, is it because I feel intimidated? And if I feel intimidated, will I be able to exercise my own power over myself, assert my dominance over my little space that I take up in the gym, and not allow anyone to pull me from my place of ethics, my place of integrity? No, their mood is theirs. It will not be allowed to dictate how I will feel at all. You know what I'm noticing? A lot of the energies as of late, and this has been going on for quite a few weeks at this point, quite a few weeks, and it's reaching really high levels. Okay, so what I'm noticing is, for most people at this point, you keep being triggered by old thoughts, things that bring you back to old spaces, things that really rile up the feathers of your old insecurities. There are things that are being done that would kind of make you feel like, am I just being paranoid? Like, what the hell is this about? But are you? Don't focus on what that insecurity or fear is. Focus on what's actually happening. Something is trying so hard to get you discombobulated within your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own existence. Last night I had I usually text my very, very small group of um folks, my friends. They're actually my family. My family, I text them pretty much every morning. Either they'll text me or I'll text them. And it was kind of a thing of, I had to ask them, like, did you guys have any weird dreams? Because last night felt so weird. I don't know why though. I don't know why. And in that moment, I didn't think I had any dreams. I didn't remember any. But it was just like, did you guys feel off? Like, is the energy off? Because it's felt off. And one of my family that I texted, they were like, did you have a bad dream or something? And I was like, no, I didn't have any dreams. And then I realized I did. I had one dream about them specifically, where it was this thing of, um, I woke up in the middle of the night in the dream, and I went and checked my phone notifications again in the dream. And I saw that they texted me as though they were so annoyed with me and just basically can't stand me at that point. And to me, that's like, that's a major trigger. Like, if someone I really, really love, I feel like I've done something and I don't know what it is to make them feel like they're sick of me. For me, that's like, oh my God, what did I do? I'll start fucking crying. I'm very sensitive about upsetting the people that I love. Right. Most other people, I'm just like, well, shit, if I don't know what I did, then you're not going to tell me. Oh, well. Right. And I told um, my family this, and they were like, oh. I said, yeah, because they would never communicate with me in that way. Even if I'm being annoying, um, they would communicate in a way that's more compassionate. Like, they know that I'm usually a space cadet and absolutely delulu most of the day, just in my own little world, right? And I was like, yeah, no, I think something is trying to create a wedge, an absolute wedge. And it was done in such a subtle manner, right? To the point where I even forgot that I had the dream. So in that dream, I saw that notification and I felt something in the pit of my stomach. And I just put the phone down and went back to sleep in the dream. And then I don't think I had any other dreams after that. I woke up this morning not remembering. But when they asked me that, that triggered my remembrance of actually, I did have a dream. And I think it's something that's trying to drive a wedge between you and I to get me into a space where it's like, I feel like you don't want me around. And because I am the last person you want to do that to. And no, that's not a threat. It's not. What happens if someone that I deeply love makes me feel like they don't want me around? I won't. I'm not a confrontational person like that. Like I'll be confrontational if you start it with me. Absolutely. But I won't initiate confrontation. I will just like very quietly disappear. Yeah. Like, but I have to really, really love you. I have to really, really, really love you deeply. And if I feel that, I'll just get real quiet and I won't respond to text messages or phone calls or anything. And I'll just be like, well, you probably feel sorry for me at this point. So I'm just going to stay quiet. You know, like I don't need your pity. You don't want me around. Hella dramatic, huh? The Piscean in me, hella dramatic. But that's what I do. So in that instance, it wanted me to be triggered in that space again. I've never been triggered like that with this person, but it wanted me to return back to that space of triggering that I used to exist in so that I would just quietly disappear. Well, that's not going to even work because all the people in my life, if I don't answer multiple text messages, um, the people that I love deeply, they'll be like, hey, what's going on? Like, what's going on? They know I'm busy. So if I don't answer a couple text messages, it's not a big deal. But if I keep not answering, they're like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? Is something going on with the family? Like, what's happening? So, know when you are being triggered and what that triggering is trying to do. Don't just focus on the trigger. Don't just focus on the person that's being used to trigger you. You have to see past that. Where you come into your power is where you exist in your awareness. Mm, I love that. Let me write that down. I'm serious. Let me write that down. Okay, hold on. Let me write that down. Where you come into your power is where you exist in your awareness. Think about that. Just think about that. Have you allowed yourself to be aware of the ways in which your life and your circumstance is affecting you? People's presence or absence, how is that affecting you? Are you aware of where you're at within your process? And you don't have to have all the answers, but if you're aware of where you're at, then you can get a better sense of the types of trials and tribulations you'll face in that space. For example, if you are in a space of working on your shadow and all of this other really dense, really intense stuff, what's going to happen? Those are the types of things you're going to experience, things having to do with your shadow aspects, the parts of you that you've cleaved off and pushed away, the portions of you and your character that have been rejected by you. And those are often very difficult things to acknowledge and even more difficult to process and reintegrate. So you have to be aware to some degree. Once you become aware, these attempts to kind of misguide you by parasitic things, they won't be as successful. They won't be as successful because now you're like, no, this is just an old insecurity. There's nothing that's really happening. And I need to work on this now so I can begin understanding how much it's crippled me not working on this. I'm telling you guys, there is something, and it's not human. There is something that is working so hard to try and destroy the most important relationships that you have. It's trying so hard to destroy it. So, so hard. Don't let that happen. If you go into a space of incubation and you shrink into yourself like this, and you refuse to communicate what's actually wrong, what you're thinking of, the things you're struggling through, it's going to be dang near impossible for the people you love to be able to properly support you. Like, you want to be supported, right? If you already know that you're very good at masking, AKA hiding what is actually happening, how do you expect them to know? Especially when people love you and they respect your boundaries, they respect your space, they respect your peace. They're going to kind of stay away a little bit, right? So you have to make sure that you allow these types of communications to take place intentionally, intentionally. And they're not going to be easy. Okay. They're just going to need to happen. And once you begin doing that, you'll begin healing the pathways within you that your soul needs to be dilated in order for you to retrieve more of your personal power. Your power, much of your actual power, is hidden away in your shadow aspects. That's to ensure that you develop the degree of maturity that is necessary to responsibly harness that type of ability, capability, gifts, skills, whatever it is. So, what starts off upside down during springtime will be right side up during fall. There will be a beautiful, bountiful harvest, but you need to correct whatever needs to be corrected during springtime. You can't allow this to continue. It's the equivalent of you planting seeds, realizing that the soil is not the appropriate pH for the type of, produce you're trying to grow. And just letting summer continue, and you're getting minimal growth. You're not even getting any flowers um, to get any of the fruits and veggies that are grown from the flowers. And then waiting until autumn to correct the soil. I mean, your opportunity is gone. Your opportunity is gone. Whatever needs to be corrected, you need to correct it now. Correct it now so that you can have an entire season for growth. Your soul got big plans for you. It has big, 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 big plans for you. And there's something that's trying to contradict what your soul is encouraging you to do. It's trying to get you to spin in place, and it's trying to blow hot air into your ear. It's trying to get you to believe in things that really are, it's not rooted in the actuality of your existence in the right now. Now, why would it want to do this? Well, because you're about to become extremely prosperous and it doesn't want you to bring that wealth home. Why would you listen to something like that? Now, I don't know how this is going to play out for everyone. All I know is what my soul is telling me and what these cards are keeping me focused on. There are those of you who are destined to completely change the trajectory of your life, like very soon. Extreme abundance. Wherever you're deficient in, that's where you're about to become abundant. But you can't allow things to interfere with the process that you're in. You can't. My higher self is giving this weird analogy. I don't know much about crypto, so I don't know. But my soul is like giving this analogy of, it's like when whatever crypto you have is like way, way high in price, and it's time for you to sell it. Like, you have to sell it right now. Sell it right now. And then something who is serving as a Trojan, a demon Harita, they're brought forward. And now they got you preoccupied by arguing with you for the next 15, 30 minutes. They're arguing with you. And then finally you're like, you know what? I've had enough. Just stop talking to me. And you go back to your crypto. Oh, too late. It's now plummeted in price. You missed that golden opportunity. You missed it. You missed it. There was this cryptocurrency that my soul was like, when I saw it on my app, I totally was like, hey, you. Hey, how are you? Hi there. And my soul basically was letting me know, like, hey, buy some of this. And I was like, okay. And I bought some. And then next thing you know, it like nearly doubled in price. And it's like, oh, look at you. Look at you. Aren't you cute? And there was a part of me that's like, I should sell because I would have made quite a bit. I should sell it. And it stayed high for, I don't know, like a week or so. And I didn't sell. And then, of course, it dropped way back down, less than what I bought it at. And I couldn't help but feel like, oh, I missed my opportunity. But then Soul spoke to me again and was like, what did I tell you? Oh, that's right. That's right. You told me to buy the amount you told me to buy and to leave it alone. And that when I look at it in a year, maybe 2 years, I'd be like, ah! Right? And I'm like, okay, all right, let's just leave it alone. The last time my soul told me to do that, I believe it was Solano. I don't know what the fuck the name is. Soul. I was like, oh, soul, son. Ah, I love it. Yeah. And I bought some and then I sold it immediately. I don't know why. But I bought it, I think, at like 30 something dollars, 20 something dollars a share. Right now, hold up. Because I didn't listen to Soul. Soul said, leave it alone. Forget that it exists. Okay. Let me see. It's at $193.44 a share. I bought it at 30 something dollars a share. Bitch, that's what happens when you don't fucking listen to your soul. That's what happens. What did your soul tell you? Leave it alone, forget it exists. So now I have quite a bit of another stock, and I'm just going to leave it the fuck alone, like my soul told me. My soul also told me to go ahead and dump quite a bit into Bitcoin several times when it was less than $1 per share. It was like a fraction of a penny or something like that. My soul told me through my son. They said, put 5 grand in this, you'll never have to work again. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And I didn't. And then a couple years later, it was like at 40 or 50,000 a share. And my soul said, okay, get some now. And then I didn't. It's now at like 100,000 a share. I'm not going to listen for Bitcoin. I'm just not. I'm not. The math of it all just it I can't have a fraction of one share. I need to have at least a whole share or it messes with my brain. So I'm going to just leave that alone. But the things that my soul told me to go ahead and get, that guidance that I received, I'm going to trust soul. I'm going to trust soul. I'm going to do what it's told me to do. And then I'm going to leave it alone and pretend like it doesn't even exist, just like my soul told me to do. And then when it's time and my soul says it's time to look or it's time to sell, then I will listen to that as well. I don't know jack shit about crypto. I don't. I don't. Yeah. Mm. So crypto makes me very nervous. Why? Because I don't understand it. I never tried to learn about it. It's just something I'm not really interested in finance stuff. So this card right here, work through your fears. You want to understand how to make the moves that are necessary in order to get the enhanced level of stability that you're seeking. One of the most powerful things you can do is learn about it tremendously. Learn as much as you can. Have faith in your dreams. Your dreams are how your soul reminds you of what the game plan actually is for this life. Excuse me. What's the game plan for your life? You don't know? Okay. What are your dreams? What are the things that you want so badly that's been in your mind for so long, or things that you don't know why you keep being shown this, why you keep being told this, but for some reason you keep being reminded of this specifically for years now. You don't know how it fits in. Well, your soul is reminding you of something. The game plan. It's the game plan. My soul keeps reminding me. At some point, I end up on a stage in the middle of a massive stadium, and the world over, all the dignitaries and everything like that, they go ahead and they fly to where I'm speaking. That's how important my words have become at that point in my life. And this entire stadium is full of people waiting to hear me speak. I don't even want to be a public speaker though. It doesn't matter. That's part of the game plan that my soul has set. Everything I do from every single point in my life, it's leading up to that moment. That's not the final moment. But when that moment occurs, I don't know when it will. When that moment occurs, that will be confirmation of all my different theories. My theory that soul is trying to remind us of their actual game plan for us in this life. And your power is in you knowing how to listen to the guidance from your soul, not allowing other people who really should not have any influence on you, because you have a say in who will influence you and who will not, but not allowing other people to dictate to you what it is you need to do, where you need to go, when you need to do it, who you need to do it with, all of those things. Like, what is that even about? What is that about? If you don't know, then you need to back up and just continue with what you do know, what you do trust. Eventually, you'll understand. Eventually. And once you begin to understand, you'll realize how important it is to surrender to the divine, your own internal divinity. Your power is growing. It is growing tremendously. It is growing in such a way that you're not even realizing, yet everyone around you is. They're starting to see the gravity of you. They're starting to understand you are not one that's going to cave. You are not one that will easily give in to what their unrealistic, unfair, ridiculous demands of you are. You're going to stand your ground. You're not going to match their energy. You're going to stand your ground and be the thermostat. Matching energy is your way. I mean, many people don't understand this, they don't realize. Matching someone's energy is your way of letting them know, confirming for them and their soul that they are the superior consciousness. They are the dominant consciousness. A lesser consciousness can never get its way with one that is exerting much more power, that has the capacity to reach higher heights and deeper depths. You need to begin recognizing the process that you're actually in. It's one that's showing you just how ridiculously powerful you are. Adjustments are required, but it's in reverse. So, your soul, this is confirmation that your soul has already been very naturally, very organically recalibrating the parts of you that are not appropriate and not conducive for the type of growth and trajectory that is necessary for you at this point. What do you need to release? So there are things that you're holding on to, right? Whatever these things are that you're holding on to, it's affecting the way your soul, the way your consciousness travels through this time, through this period. You need to make some decisions. I don't know what those decisions are. I wish, I mean, I could figure that out with you during a private session, right? I could absolutely do that. But in a general reading like this, I don't know what they are. I don't. Maybe I'm not supposed to know. Maybe that's only for you to know, right? Because if it's me that knows and I'm telling you, and I'm consistently being the one to tell you, that creates a dependency. You become dependent on me. And rather than reclaiming your power, as I'm encouraging you to do, all you're doing is giving it to me without me even realizing that you're giving it to me. So I'm not interested in taking your power from you. Yo, my son said something to me the other week and is very, very telling. He's in an industry that's very cutthroat and just, like you need to know your stuff. You need to stand your ground and all of that. And so one of his associates has had some really, bad things that have happened with his money and all of that. And it's kind of ugly and it's kind of sad. And so my son is trying to encourage his associate slash friend and kind of help him to reclaim his power and make decisions for himself. And that friend decided to involve his mother as a like a manager. They're both of them are grown. They're adults, right? And the mother was speaking to the lawyers about, contractual things and trying to get everything situated. And she, in I guess a group chat that they were having with the lawyers, um, she volunteers my son's time without asking him if he's free. She spoke without confirming. And he was very upset, rightfully so. Rightfully so. And, it was very telling because he was upset, and in his sharing of what was happening and how it was making him feel, he says to me, my own mom doesn't even do that. You don't even do that to me, mom. You don't just like dictate stuff like that to me. I said, I know. You have a reason to be pissed. That's mad disrespectful. You are autonomous. You decide things for yourself. And that was extremely unprofessional. The appropriate way to have handled that was to let the law firm know, let me connect with my team and make sure everyone is available during that window. And I'll reach out to you once I confirm. And then to message you guys privately. So that way you're not wasting this lawyer's time. Right. And my son says to me, if you were handling this, it would have all been done already. It would have been done and we would have been moving forward with everything already. I said, I know. But this is something that you're needing to learn. You're needing to learn how to utilize your voice, how to express your autonomy in a way that is professional and appropriate for the task at hand. For whatever the circumstance is, this is what it's gifting you, the opportunity to recognize how powerful your voice is. And so he ended up letting them know because he was not free. That's why he was so pissed off. He let them know, I'm not available, but please, let me know here, update me here, so that way we can, present this to the law firm appropriately. And that was that. So you get all caught up with the feelings of what someone else is doing to you, failing to realize it's gifting you with something. It's gifting you with an opportunity to learn and utilize what you've learned to go from awareness to knowledge to wisdom. Awareness to knowledge to wisdom. The circumstance, you're now aware of the circumstance. Because you're aware the circumstance is intending to teach you something on a soul level, you're being taught and reminded. Now you're entering into a space of knowledge. When you apply what you've learned, you go from knowledge, simply knowing, to wisdom, because wisdom is knowledge in action, knowledge applied. Awareness, knowledge, wisdom. This is what your life is gifting you. And if you're not going to utilize your now growing awareness of what these circumstances are meant to do, then nothing's going to change. It's not going to change. And maybe it doesn't need to change. If you want it to change, then you need to do something to make sure it changes. You need to do something to make sure that it changes. You are limitless. And there is something, including life events, there's something trying to convince you that you're incapable of transformation. You are capable of limitless transformation. Do you understand how many lifetimes you live in this single lifetime? How many lives you live in this single lifetime? Do you realize the gravity of that? The person that I was 20 years ago is not the person that I was 15 years ago, is not the person that I was 12 years ago, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, not the person that I was 5 years ago, not the person that I was last year, not the person that I was last week, not the person that I was yesterday. Why? Because with every experience you have, every interaction, every emotional response that you have to everything in your life, you shift and change. And some of us are so afraid of change that we cling to stay the same person. The version of me that existed in 2017. That was a fractured woman. And I hid it so well. I hid it behind offers of my time, my energy, my existence, even my money. Just giving and giving and giving. And I remember there was a circumstance sometime in 2017. There was a woman who I became friends with. I saw her as a friend. I don't know how she saw me. And that's something I'm learning very intensely. Just because you see someone as a friend, just because you categorize them as a genuine friend, does not mean they reciprocate that. It doesn't. It does not mean they reciprocate that. So this woman, she was in a dire circumstance. It was a prolonged dire circumstance. She too was living in a parking lot or something like that, in a broken down trailer. And her existence was very stressful for her. And I made sure to befriend her and be supportive and consistently, despite the fact that I can read for myself. I was purchasing readings from her on a regular basis and I was promoting her and everything because that's the person that I am. And then she had told me that these other gals who were trying to create problems for me, that, you know, they weren't going to stop and they were going to continue to try and create problems. Well, then I found out that one of the gals who happens to be a trust fund baby, like literally, that's what they told me, that they had begun purchasing readings from this person that I was helping. So it was at that point I reached out to that person I was helping and I said, "You are absolutely right. I don't feel right about having you placed in the middle of this because they wanted to try and turn her against me by way of purchasing all kind of services from her. That's okay. You need money. You need money and I can't sustain this. So I'm going to walk away from you so that way I don't fuck up your money." And I explained this to them. You were right. I don't want you to get involved, get sucked into this drama. So I'm going to walk away. I'm going to block you so that I can't reach out. There was no malicious intention there. I introduced them to that ongoing client. It was me that introduced them. You know what that person did? Because I had blocked them. Um, they went ahead and they made a post that I'm a fucking bitch. I'm sorry, what? And they were talking mad shit. And there were all these people that were commenting, yeah, she's such a fucking bitch. She thinks she's better than everyone. What did I do? Did I fuck up your money? I walked away so your money could be preserved because that person can purchase large quantities of readings and whatnot from you. Oh, and then there were comments of like I should eat a Tide Pod and this and that. I was just like, you know, well, some people deal with rejection in that way. All I know is I've only ever been nice and supportive and very loving. And it just kind of is what it is. And it took someone, I didn't know, the person who told me, they screenshot everything and they were livid. They were livid with everyone. They were like, and seeing their comment is what kind of gave me clarity. I didn't cry seeing people like up in arms, people I've never had any conflict with, up in arms about my existence. That didn't make me cry. I was just like, well, you know, some people are not going to like me and I can't really do anything about that. What made me cry was this one person who did end up showing me everything. Um, they're non confrontational and they were like, what is wrong with all of you? Every single person that's celebrating and hoping that she gets hurt, me, are people who have received money from her and you've never paid her back and she's never held that over your head. People who she's helped. All of you have benefited from Emmy at some point. How dare you? And I was like, girl, don't waste your energy. She was so mad. And I finally started crying because this really, really sweet person, she's always sweet to everyone. She's like, I'm mad on your behalf, Emmy. All you do is help people. All you do is help people. How dare they treat you like this? And I was like, you know, we just got to move forward from it. We do. She was upset that I didn't understand my value as a person and that I deserved at least a certain level of dignity, right? I'm learning. I'm learning the level, the depth of dignity that I have rightfully earned in this life. I don't ever see myself as above other people, but I do know quite a few people look at me and place me on a pedestal and then get angry with me for the way they've chosen to regard me. That's not my problem. My problem is that I still to this day struggle, not as bad, of course, but I still to this day struggle with my acceptance of my true value. In my head, to be really honest, in my head, even if I disappeared today and this was the last live stream I ever did and you just never heard from me again, I really genuinely feel like your life would continue forward just perfectly fine. I'm just a person online. I think your life would continue forward perfectly fine. That you would learn what you need to learn, that you would come across the people who will help you to learn things that you're struggling to learn on your own, and that life finds a way. And your existence, it's not contingent on your connection to me, that you have a right to exist. You have a claim, a birthright to heal, to be empowered in your existence. That has nothing to do with me. That is yours. I'm simply encouraging you to do it. And it's like when I share that very genuine thought that I have, the way I see myself in my life, and I understand what I do has tremendous value. There's literally no one else that has my skill set that's publicly visible. And when I hear, you know, people especially who've been with me for a while, like, no, I mean, there's something about your presence. It takes up such a space in people's lives. And when you're not present, there's a huge gaping hole where you were. I was joking with one of the girls at the front desk before I left the gym this morning. And it's a girl that I'd be hella messing around with her, joking around with her. And I was gone for a couple months. She hadn't seen me for a while. And I saw her there today, went up to her and I was like, hey, so I was just thinking I was just going to come here and harass you for like a minute or two because you've been free of my harassment for a couple months. And that's just like, that's not right. She goes, right. She goes, are you okay though? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm good now. They tried to take me out, but they failed. And she was saying, you know, the whole energy shifted when you disappeared. And for some reason, in that moment, I don't think she was joking. I don't think she was joking. And she continued on with, like, the gym just did not feel the same without you here literally every day. And I was like, well, girl, we're changing that now. I'm back. Right? How other people see you is not the defining factor of your power. Because some people will see you as better than them and then they'll accuse you of thinking you're better. It's like, no, they think you're better. And be honest with yourself. If you think you're better than everyone, just be honest with yourself. But are you really? I know I have a tremendous skill set. I know I'm formidable. That don't mean shit. That's for my journey. I still can't fill the role that you are destined to fill. You have your own value, you have your own worth. So for you to think that, oh, Emmy is more important than me because blah, 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 I doubt that. I, I, I genuinely doubt that. You all have your own worth. Your power is about helping yourself realize a portion of what that worth is. You don't have to know everything before you comply with soul, but I think you have to know just enough, at least a little bit, have an awareness to some degree so that you can understand, okay, soul is trying to make something work out for me. Last year, um, one of one of you guys went ahead and took like a phone recording of a portion of my live stream, and then they talked on it, and then they posted it on their profile, and of course they tagged me. Thank you for tagging me. It wasn't something we talked about in advance. It wasn't something that was being planned or anything like that. I actually found out from someone else. They were like, girl, your video is going viral. And I was like, what video? What are you talking about? What does that even mean? Like, what? And then they sent me a link. And I think the last time I had looked at it during that period, it had something like 1.7 million views on that person's profile. And my soul tells me you needed to experience that one step removed from you so that you could understand, even though the reach goes like that, your life and your perception of your existence doesn't have to change. Because that's one of the sticking points, the point where I stick on that I'm like, I don't want to move forward. That awareness that once I reach the level of function that I'm designed to fulfill, my life will never be the same. I will not have the enjoyment of anonymity the way I do. And so my soul tells me now, a few weeks ago, my soul was like, okay, so giving you advance notice. You're literally going like crazy viral this year. And I was like, for what? I hope it's not fucking drama. That's my response. I hope it's not fucking drama because I'm really sick of fucking drama. Like, it better be for something productive, something very healing for other people. Soul didn't continue the conversation. It's just giving me this awareness. And now, right now, my soul is telling me, we prepared you last year for what's to come this year. And you're in control, meaning your life and the way your life is lived, the way you see yourself, it doesn't have to be altered just because you've taken another step towards the purpose you were designed to fulfill in this life. I know I'm never going to change. I'm going to keep being this person. The person you see in front of you now, this is me. There's no masks. There's nothing to hide behind. There's nothing I'm ashamed of. I got an attitude, I got a mouth, but I'm also one of the kindest, most compassionate, most genuinely caring people you could ever come across. I'd say I'm balanced. And the ugliest parts of me only come out when I have to address ugly shit, at which point it's appropriate. There's nothing left in me that needs to be shifted tremendously that would then be viewed as I've become a different person. I will continue to refine my understanding of myself, just like you will continue to refine your understanding and your movement through your life. But get to the point where you're fully who you are, and there's no other character that needs to be laid to rest. It does not matter what tax bracket I enter into. I will always be the person that I am. This is who I am. It's not a caricature. There's not aspects of me in my existence that I'm afraid, like, oh my God, I hope you guys don't find out. Like, no, I own every part of my life. Ooh. Michael says there's no skeletons in her closet because her bones are where they belong, serving as the structure from which movement gives rise. I love when he speaks very poetic like that. That was fucking beautiful, bro. That was beautiful. Are you blushing? He's fucking blushing. You're such a weirdo. It wasn't that much of a compliment for you to blush. Ew, like, act proper. Now he's gone back to being irritated with me. That's how I like it. He's always irritated with me. Good. Good. Anyways, free spirit. Be the free spirit that you are. Allow yourself to move and flow and shift within your space. You are the final deciding factor of the ways in which you will move through the spaces you were given by God to exist in. So make decisions. Communication. You need to cut communication with specific people. I don't know who. For me, I know who it is. I know who that is in my life. These are people who are bothered by your growing sense of self worth. They refuse to let you go because they haven't given you permission to be yourself. Then they're going to go out of their way to make you miserable. Because how dare you understand your worth when they didn't give you permission to understand it? Fuck those people. I don't give a shit who they are. Um, Pamela says, I blocked my father today. If it leads to your healing, I'm proud of you, Pamela. If it leads to your healing, I'm proud of you. If it's just you avoiding difficult conversation, the type of triggering that is necessary to help you rapidly increase your rate of growth and healing, then I hope that you reconsider that once you realize. But if it leads to your healing, I'm proud of you. There is no one in this life aside from my children, and I think my husband too. He's earned it. There is no one this life. Well, and my girlfriends. They've fucking earned it too. That's how you know I've healed quite a bit. Because I was gonna say, there's no one in this life who gets a free pass to continue to hurt me for no fucking reason. Those are people who would never intentionally hurt me anyways. That's not the type of relationship I have with them. And Pamela, I don't speak to my father either. He's his purpose in my growth. And I accept that he is who he is. And because I respect and honor who he is, the way he is, he will never be a part of my life again. He won't. Why? Because he cannot help himself when it comes to making people miserable. He seems to not like it when people are happy, and it's not because he's given them permission to be happy. And I don't need that in my life, nor do my children, nor does my husband. So, yeah, I have no relationship with my father. And that's the healthiest relationship I've ever had with him my entire life. Damn, the gravity of it. The gravity of it. The healthiest part of my relationship with my father was when I chose to no longer have one with him. Many people will say he's a very good guy. Of course, he's very charming, as most narcissists are. Clinical narcissism is one hell of a motherfucker. It is what it is. See, narcissism, if it's clinical narcissism, not just you disagree with someone and therefore they're now a narcissist, that's not narcissism. We all have varying degrees of narcissistic behavioral patterns, varying degrees. Okay. But true clinical narcissism, that's a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother thing. When they have clinical narcissism, the individual refuses as and is incapable of recognizing that they are actually the problem. It's everyone else. And if you can't take accountability for being your own problem, I'm sorry, but I will not allow you to bleed all over me and my children when we were not the ones that inflicted that wound to begin with. We will not allow that infectious material anywhere near us because we deserve to live in a healthy, happy way. And so it is what it is. He's very capable of showing beautiful traits. Are they genuine to who he is? From what I know, he's good at reading people. He's good at creating the type of perception that he chooses you to have. He's extremely well versed in creating a character story about whoever he's triangulated on. And he will convince everyone about it. He will convince everyone. It is what it is. That's who he is. It's not my job to heal him. I'm not interested in doing that. I simply honor who he's chosen to remain. And it is what it is. I don't have any anger at this point. You see, when it still makes you cry, it's a wound that hasn't finished healing. It's not you being weak. It's you needing more time. The fact that I'm not crying about it right now, it is what it is. It is what it is. You know? Hi, Matt. No, I'm live right now. I'm live. Oh, Wolf Skull Splitter, me and my sister. Mm. That makes me sad. Me and my sister are the only ones left alive that know my dad's an asshole portal. That makes me sad because although I was able to remain whole and not be as deeply impacted by his behaviors, clinical narcissism is one hell of a motherfucker. Every last one of my siblings and my mother were diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I'm the only one. I'm the only one. And I'm the only one that refuses to keep silent on his secrets. I will not carry that for you. I will not carry that for you. And I think my decision to exercise autonomy and not simply identify myself as a byproduct of his rage, his clinical narcissism, his manipulations, his gaslighting, and all these things that we endured as a family. Um, it prevented my heart from breaking. It prevented my heart from breaking. Yeah. So I have no tears for him. I don't. Um, but I absolutely have intense emotions looking how it's affected my entire family but me. And on the brighter side of things, because we can't remain in that space of recognizing simply the negative. On the brighter, more powerful side of things, I recognize growing up in that environment, it's given me a type of strength that is very rare. It's given me a depth of fearlessness that is very rare. Very rare. This is not just a part of my personality or my character. This is a byproduct of the maltreatment I witnessed and received my entire childhood, turned into something so powerful that's now consciously being used for the benefit of others. When I tell you, you are not alone in the things that you experience, the hardships, the ugliness, the maltreatment you receive from others and yourself. Babe, none of us have a unique story. We all have the same story with varying degrees of intensity, different characters. But at the end of the story, if you allow, you will come to see that you've always been the heroine, the hero, and that you're unstoppable. You just needed to go through that depth of struggle to see through life experience how powerful you actually are. Mm. It's up to you if you'll allow the negative things you've experienced to further weaken and distort your view of yourself, right? Thank you, Spirit. Oh, that's such a beautiful thing to share. Spirit says, Emmy, I love what you say. It's because you are the only one who actually helped me to face negativity in darkest times. I don't have words to thank you. I used to cry during the readings. crying is not evidence of your weakness. It's evidence of the release of the extra and unnecessary so that you can create space to begin processing the hardships that you faced and the ways in which it's empowered you rather than destroy you. I once had a friend, we were out to lunch, and this friend waits until everyone has left the table at the restaurant and confronts me and says, "You realize that you cry too much, right? Like, that's like emotional instability." I'm sorry, what? They're like, "Yeah, every couple live streams you're crying." And I had to stay quiet for a moment because I needed to know where this was going. In their eyes, it was coming from a space of love and friendship. They needed to let me know the ways in which I was damaged, broken, malfunctioning. And I remember in that conversation, not only did they say that to me, again, with no one present, they also said to me that crying is not going to solve anything. I'm sorry if you think I'm trying to solve things with tears. It's simply a release valve to allow the excess to be released so I have more space to process. The most powerful part of my journey is when I gave myself permission to cry. Because until that point, sometime in 2017, I had never allowed anyone outside of my husband and immediate family to see me cry. I've never been more powerful than when I allowed myself to see those spaces of vulnerability that I have the courage to share publicly. It's not weakness, it's evidence of my awareness that even in a vulnerable state, I'm fucking formidable. And there's nothing I have to be afraid of just because I'm releasing the excess via tears. Let that sink in. For those of you who are afraid to express yourselves, express your emotions, yes, you can't be a crybaby and cry all the time because that's going to drain you. You're going to be dehydrated, your face going to be puffy, your sinuses are going to be all swollen and like you run the risk of entering into some type of depressed state for a bit, and it's kind of like, okay, let's find a balance, right? A release, at least enough to be able to process without the distortions of excess emotion, right? And a recognition that when you release and you have no fear of who's witnessing you in a space of vulnerability and release, that's you flexing your awareness, even if it's subconscious. That's you flexing your awareness of how fucking badass you are, how unfuckwithable you are. I mean, just because small minded people can't grasp that doesn't mean you have to join them in that space of lack of understanding, lack of awareness, and lack of gratitude of how powerful you actually are. I still don't like people seeing me cry, not because I'm ashamed. I know that quite a few of you in our community, you care so deeply about me and I about you. And I know it makes your heart feel some type of way when you see me in a space of processing my emotions. And yes, in many ways, that's a gift for both of us, for me and you who are seeing me go through it. But in other ways, I feel like I don't want to be the reason you feel that way, though. I don't want to be the reason why you feel that way, why you feel bad, why you feel dense. But I get it. It's a gift shared between us. So it is what it is. I won't stop myself. I won't force myself. It just is what it is. And when the tears flow, they flow. And when they stop, they stop. And no matter what you see happening on the outside, inside, I live in the stillness of my peace. I can only be moved when I give permission to be moved. Just like no one can manipulate me to get things out of me because what, I'm publicly visible. And you think that if you say something that's triggering, I'll be forced to give you what you're demanding. No, no. If you ask me, I'll consider. And if it resonates with me, I most likely will say yes. Many things resonate with me. If it doesn't resonate with me, then it's probably going to be a no. And it's not because I'm being mean, it's because it doesn't resonate. Therefore, I have to listen to the guidance of my soul to avoid unnecessary things. And that's that. Own your decisions, own your journey, release your allegiance to the very things and the very people, the very types of circumstance that force you to disregard your needs. You can change your mind. Did you know that, right? That you have, my bladder is so full. You have the authority to change your mind. If the energy or the details or anything about whatever it is you agreed to suddenly changes, you can change your mind. So, for example, I think this was like last year when I first transitioned over to TikTok. It was this thing of like, there was a viewer who came on and they were experiencing negative side effects, long term side effects from something from like 2020, if you catch what I'm saying. Okay, that's all I can say. And I was moved by it. And I was like, hey, I'm willing to help you and work with you through this. You have to email me so that we can work out because my schedule is very compacted. It is very full. And I was going to try and figure out a way to be able to work with them and completely free of charge. Right. And then several days, maybe a week goes by. I didn't hear from them. And somewhere in the middle of that, um, it felt like the window of opportunity was closed. And I was like, well, maybe it was wrong of me to offer that. And, they don't know me. I'm very new to TikTok. So they don't know the gravity of the work that I do. So I just leave it alone. But now in my heart, I've decided that opportunity is gone. And then they reached out and it was like, sorry, the opportunity is gone. Like it's gone. And then so from that point forward, what I witnessed was consistently every video post, every live stream that they could manage to make it on while I was live, they would verbal vomit all in the comments about their health and their struggle. Like, bro, I'm sorry, opportunity is gone. It doesn't resonate with me anymore. And it gets to a point where it feels very intensely like you are sharing this verbal vomit because now everyone's seeing it. And I'm looking like the asshole for not falling over myself to rush to save you. Bro, I offered, you did not accept. Days, a week goes by. And after I decide, okay, the window is closed, now you reach out like you're entitled to something. I'm good. But you're not going to sit there and continue to put me in an awkward circumstance. So finally, at some point, I don't remember exactly what they said. I was like, I've had enough. Ban. And that's that. Just ban. And then they had the audacity. I don't even know why she banned me. Okay. You don't know, but I do. And that's all I need to know. I'm not sorry and I'm not ashamed. You repeatedly crossed boundaries with me. Yes, I could have explained, but that's what some people want. They don't want the explanation so they can understand and accept. They want the explanation so that now you have opened the pathway for communication, energetic exchange. They're going to suck you in. And when I've come across people like this in the past, and I've tried to explain so that their feelings don't get hurt, they take that as an invitation, like, ah, yes. Now everything that Emmy writes, I'm going to twist it. So I've learned I'm just good. I'm just good. Right? Day Love Star says those people usually get checked by your community if you don't get to them first. And that's why I try to kind of just hold back and not say anything. You see me singing Jesus songs and stuff because I'm like, okay, I might just be in a bad mood. But then when I see people in the community like having an issue with it too, I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not just me. It's not just me. And it's okay. It's okay if you need a little bit of time to kind of step back and make sure that your assessment is accurate, right? Diving for light. So, for many of us, with everything that's happening, it's a lot of energetic shifting. I'm not really allowed to talk much about it. So, I've kind of been laying low. But this energetic shifting, again, it is intended to create a lot of upheaval internally and externally, a lot of emphasis on corrupting the most sacred connections that you have. Excuse me, the most sacred connections, trying to insinuate by way of old traumas, old triggers, that one of the most sacred people in your life is not to be trusted, is plotting, is lying, is stealing from you. And are they though? Is that an old trauma that's kind of rising to the surface? Were they even there when you were first wounded? Because if not, stop. It's an important connection for you. Stop. Stop. Recognize that you're being bamboozled by your own ego. Something is triggering people's egos. And it's triggering it in a way that's not common for us to experience. So when it gets triggered in that way, it's definitely this thing of you feeling far less than what you actually are, and causing you to become much more reactive. That circumstance at the gym that I talked about from the other day, um that was intended to make me feel like I'm not welcome in that space and nobody likes me, because that was a fucking trigger for much of my younger years, much of my younger life, my childhood. um I am autistic and extremely socially awkward for most of my life. And it's been a thing of just this assumption that lives in me that nobody likes me. That's why I'm okay with nobody liking me. I recognize that now. That's why I'm not bothered. Like, if you don't like me, okay, we'll get in line. It's a long line. It wraps around the building. I don't give a fuck. I stay in my lane. I don't go out of my way to interact with people that don't like me. So you don't like me, just steer clear. Scroll past my content if you don't like me. Block my account if you don't like me. I don't care. I honor your decision, right? But that distortion still lived in me. And I could feel it reverberating after that incident at the gym. That could have made me highly reactive. I could have canceled my membership and just like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck everything, fuck everybody, fuck, right? How I normally will handle a sense of being rejected. But instead, I was like, let this ride in the way it needs to ride, let it flow. And when I did that and I followed the guidance of Soul, Soul told me, pause your workout, let the people in the front know. So if you go wild out, they're not going to cancel your membership. They'll be like, okay, there was an existing circumstance. This guy is trying to intimidate a female at the gym. So we need to address this in a different way rather than just canceling my membership. And something amazing turned out from it. Like confirmation after confirmation that my presence in that space is recognized and it's valued by other members. It's valued by the staff. My feeling, my assumption that no one likes me and this guy's the only one For a split second, that's where my mind went. This guy's the only one who had the fucking balls to let me know that nobody likes me. And I had to tell myself, like, girl, this guy's a dick. What do you mean he's the only one who had the balls to tell you that no one likes you? You know damn well you get along with pretty much everyone at this gym. You know that. So then I quieted myself down. I left it up to my husband to decide which gym are we going to today. And I remained in flow. And I was given the confirmation that clearly I needed, not just to reassure me that nobody hates me at that gym except that dick, but quite the opposite, that I am welcome there. And that, and this is the most important part, not only am I welcome there, I was accurate in my awareness that this is an attempt to fuck with my head and the way I see myself. The subtlety of that parasitic thought inception. Holy shit. The subtlety of it all. Let the people miscalculate. You stand in your power, in the center of your lane, stand in your power, and just keep driving down. Let the people do whatever they're going to do. Let the people do whatever they're going to do. I see life the way I see driving down the road. I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to do whatever I do in my lane. If I'm acting up in my lane and police see me, they're going to give me a ticket. Okay. If I'm in my lane, I'm in my lane. I could follow close behind someone. I could create space behind them so that I don't get into a car accident. All of that. My choice, my decision. I mean, what if someone swerves into your lane? Babe, I got full coverage insurance. I got full coverage insurance. Even if they don't have insurance, I don't give a shit. My insurance will cover it all. They'd probably be in trouble. Yeah, they'll probably get their car impounded. If the wreck is bad enough, they'll get their car impounded, license revoked, all of that shit. Uh, am I wanting that? No, I just know that that's some of the different potentials. So then what do I have to be afraid of when I drive? Not a damn thing, Smokey. Not a damn thing, Smokey. Seriously, I'm a really good driver. I know how to drift cars. It's fun, except you need the right kind of car to do that. But that's the degree of control I have over a vehicle. I know how to drift cars. Hmm. Yep. In addition to that, I also have this ability, and it's a quirky little ability. I can read and sense the thought pattern of the drivers in the cars surrounding my vehicle. One time, my husband and I, we were driving, and we live on a mountain, so we're kind of that downgrade, right? And I'm telling my husband, like, don't let people box you in. And he's telling me, don't be a backseat driver, basically, which I was. I was being a backseat driver in that moment. And I'm like, no, no. And he's like, because that car, we were in their blind spot, and they decided they were going to switch into our lane without looking to make sure it was free. And they almost crushed my side of the vehicle. At which point, as they were starting to swerve, and I yelled, no. And then my husband, obviously, he honked his horn. Yeah, no, I pushed their car. No, fuck that. You're not going to crush my car with me in it. Are you kidding me? I got shit I got to do. I don't got time for that. So I shoved their car. I've done that with big rigs too. Yeah. You're well equipped for the road you are destined to travel. You know that, right? You are well equipped for the road you are destined to travel. One time is years ago, long, long time ago. We were driving, I forget that highway. For those of you who are familiar with Colorado, this is a highway that takes you from like Vail towards, I think, Denver. So it's like a 2 lane highway, 2 lanes, and then 2 lanes up top. You have sheer mountain and sheer drop off on the side, right? So I don't know what happened, but we're in the fast lane. We have nowhere to go, mind you. It's a mountain beside us. We're in the fast lane, and a big rig is in the slow lane. There's only 2 lanes. And this pickup truck, it's a work pickup truck for a well known internet company. Fucking idiot. I think he got pissed off that the big rig switched into the slow lane. So then he decides to cut us off in the fast lane and then go into the lane of the big rig and slam on his brakes. And before all that happened, I was like, why does my head feel weird? What the fuck? It feels like my entire skull down to here has been crushed in. Like, what the fuck is this feeling? And then a few seconds later, the truck cuts us off, cuts off the big rig, slams on his fucking brakes, like, and the big rig slams on their brakes, wheels locked. It's, mind you, it's right outside my window. The wheels locked, smoke is coming out of the wheels, and then the big rig was maneuvering to swerve into our lane. That would have crushed me. Literally crushed the front passenger of the vehicle. My window, my entire seat was already past the big rig's rear axle. I should have died. I was like, no, fuck that shit. Yeah. And for some reason, the big rig swerved back into its lane before it was probably like this far away from my car. I could have rolled down my window and touched the wheel. He swerved back into his lane. And I was just so upset. Like, motherfucker! That's what the headache was for! Because I was texting my friend, like, hey, are you okay? My head feels really weird. Like, I just want to make sure you're okay. Yeah, it would have crushed my skull in. It was clearly a fully loaded big rig. The way that it fishtailed when you swerved back, it was clearly a fully loaded big rig. The only other place for us to go was into the mountain, to slam into the mountain or slam on the brakes, swerve, and go off the cliff. Except with me in the car, no, motherfuckers, we got more options than that. We got more options than that because, like I said, you are fully equipped for what needs to happen, what you need to do in this life. You are fully equipped, right? I don't be scared. My husband don't be scared if I'm in the car. He's like, she handled that shit. Yeah, no, my husband totally has that mindset. She take care of that shit. Ain't nothing gonna happen to her. Yeah. hmm The problem is not your lack of ability. The problem is your lack of trust in yourself. You don't trust yourself. You don't trust that you can get through all the different circumstance that life is presenting you. So that's a problem. Free from judgment, free to love. If you allow yourself to love yourself, right? If you allow yourself to love yourself, what happens? You open up the doors of potentiality and all the parts of you that you pushed away, because now you're entering into a space where your soul wants you to unify all your parts. All the parts of you that are absent will no longer be absent, and you will be formidable. Formidable. Try it out sometime. Try it out. And when I say sometime, I think right now, because time is in reverse, that means you don't have all the time in the world. That means you need to do it already. You need to show yourself already. And to be honest, I think for some of you, you've already shown yourself this. You've already had different types of life events that have shown you like really weird stuff. And you're like, oh my God, that was such a weird coincidence. Babe, it wasn't a coincidence. The reason you're struggling to unify all these parts is because you are dismissing the very in real life experience that is showing you just how well equipped you are. It wasn't coincidence. You weren't just lucky. It wasn't synchronicity. It wasn't any of those things. You did that. You made it happen. It wasn't any of those excuses that you're trying to cling to explain away something that is very, very obvious to me, but impossible to you. It'll be okay. Work through that self rejection, that self abnegation. Work through it. Find the courage. Remember, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is what you do in the face of it. Do it while afraid. Okay? Do it while afraid. Whatever it is your soul is bringing you to, do it while afraid. There's nothing that you need to alchemically change about yourself. What's happening right now, life is not changing you. But Emmy, I'm not the same person. Right. But it's still not changing you. Well, then, Emmy, what's happening? I don't understand. You're shedding. You're in a cycle of shedding. You are releasing the old characters that you have played, the masks that you have worn, in order to accommodate the expectations and preferences of people who never had any interest in seeing the reality of you. You know, the people who picked on me when I was on Facebook. I mean, I had quite a few people try to cyberbully me. It was rather nutty. Like, you're putting so much effort. Like, who the fuck am I to you, anyways? Like, are you kidding me? I'm just a fucking homeless stay at home mom. Like, what is this about? You're forming groups and campaigns. Like, what are you doing? My God, you're making it seem like I'm some big ass deal. What the fuck? You know, and it was this thing of like, I couldn't see what they were seeing in me. They were already seeing my formidable nature. They were already seeing, to some degree, the extreme elevation of my gifts, capacity, capability. I still couldn't see those things. But here's the thing, even though they saw enough of me to see me as a threat to the fake shit they were trying to peddle, they still had no idea that wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. See, even if they consider that that was simply the tip of the iceberg, I'm not an iceberg. I'm the fucking entirety of Antarctica. So, and it's funny, life has a way of circling things back around to see how much you actually learned from the last time it was present. So, what happened? The same bitches circled back around just over the summer. The same malignant, intentionally malignant bitches circled back around. And they thought they were going to do another cycle. No. Back then, when you thought you could harm me physically via magic, back then, when you thought you could gather enough social media influencers to do energy work on me and shut me down, You had no idea that I only allowed you to see a fraction of a percent of what I can actually do. I still haven't shown what I can actually do. Little bits and pieces come out. Little bits and pieces of the story of me are witnessed by random people in random live streams, where my heart moves me to work on people who I just cannot leave in that state of desperation, that state of such a decline in health. It doesn't happen to everyone, but there are some people where it's like, I can't leave you like this. I have to work on you. And even with that, skillfully dissolving blood clots with zero negative impact to the client. No ischemic events, no embolism, no nothing. Never met the person. The ability to synthesize copper, to stabilize arterial walls, prevent, again, ischemic events, aneurysms, having never met the person. That's not even a fragment of what I can do. Probably never going to show more than, I don't know, 20% of what I can actually do. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. I'll only do what's necessary to help people I move to help. But even with that, those who miscalculated the true gravity of my capacity, capability, gifts, awareness, and compassion, they're seeing, we can't fuck with this girl. Because thank God, thank God, not only am I allowing myself to tap into a little bit more and finding comfort in showing these things publicly that make me very uncomfortable to share with the public. Most importantly, I'm now willing and have a Harvard grad as my legal representation. I will not allow anyone to fuck with my journey anymore. No more. I don't say that as a flex. I'm simply sharing a detail of my journey. Everything I do is done at a level of elevation. You need to recognize when everything you do is done at a level of elevation. And just because it's your norm does not mean it is normal. It does not mean it is common. Therefore, you are worth less than what you realize. Life is showing you how much you're being given, how much your soul is providing you. And if you can't receive that awareness in context with a circumstance you're dealing with, you're probably going to go and continue not knowing, not realizing. It is what it is. You have to allow yourself to see just how magical you are, how magical your life is. Yeah, it is what it is. Recognize how supported you are. It might not be in the way that you want, it might not be in the way that you envisioned with the people who you wanted there, right? It might not be. But I promise you, it'll be exactly in the way that is in your greatest, most highest interest and need, as determined by your soul, as determined by your soul. I love it. I love it. A powerful thing that you guys can do When you're faced with a difficult circumstance and you don't know which way to decide and what options are present, present your soul with a singular statement. Soul, I'm giving you full authority over the way this plays out. Please give to me in perfect time and measure everything that is necessary to get through this circumstance and learn what I must learn with minimal disruption to my life, minimal inconvenience, and minimal pain. I promise you, your soul will give you everything that you need. Everything. I was in the middle of legal proceedings. Someone had been issuing some threats to me, my life, my family, including my children, including my fucking 2-year-old niece. I don't even bring my family online. And it was just so out of hand. And so I had to initiate legalities. And at one point, it was like it had continued for so long. And I was just kind of like, oh, should I just give up? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I'm just tired. And it's so expensive. And I don't know. I don't know, soul. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I acknowledged that I felt like that. And after I acknowledged I felt like that, I said, okay, soul, if I need to continue this, you need to put money in my account so I can continue this. Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know? Almost instantly, my phone dinged. Ding! What the fuck is that? I look, and it was basically the exact amount that I needed to continue the legal case that I had initiated. So I continued it. And when the criminal portion successfully concluded in my favor, and I was presented with the opportunity to halt the civil case, I again asked my soul, soul, is it time to stop? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I was given another confirmation. If you don't see this all the way through, it will simply repeat. If not with the same person, then with someone else, the same demon. The same demon, see it all the way through, no matter what. And so now I'm fully committed to it. We're going to see it all the fucking way through, still documenting everything, even down to a simple hi comment, knowing damn well there's an injunction that blocks you legally from commenting on any of my platforms, establishing any type of contact. Every infraction equates to jail time. I'm no longer stressed. I'm simply allowing soul to do what it does and instruct me on when it's time to submit everything. Because again, every infraction equates to another day in jail. And maybe I'm realizing now that soul is making sure that everything is timed in such a divine manner, a way that I don't even realize. Timed so that when this circumstance results in jail time for the said individual, will probably be locked up while I'm having my in-person event. Ain't that poetic? And just so you guys know, this is a reason I haven't released the date or even the general state that the event will be in. I will not allow anyone from my community to be bothered by any of this caca at all. It's a very exclusive event, and it's going to be amazing. And nothing will deter my focus on making sure that this event is a ridiculously powerful, powerful experience for everyone who chooses to join, right? Fragments in reverse, you're becoming whole. That's the promise from soul. You are being made whole, and that's that. And no, being made whole does not require you to be smelted, meaning completely melted down and hammered repeatedly. That's not a requirement. That's something you can choose. If you want to select the option that leads to further suffering, then you will be smelted. You'll be mixed with other ores and hammered repeatedly. It's up to you, though. The choice has only ever been yours. Okay? So, guys, if you would like to join me for that special 2 day event, there's only a couple spots left. It's a quantum potential event. And again, it's 2 days. You can either click on the QR code on the screen, the link in the comment. If you're on TikTok, go to my bio on TikTok, click on that link, and look for the quantum potential event. This is a 2 day in person event where on the first day, we're going to be focusing on whole being wellness. We're going to go very, very deep into that. And then on the second day, we're going to be focusing on soul based business. It is a very powerful potentiality that's being loaded with this. What I sometimes mention, oftentimes don't, the private venue, the private venue was selected because during the time that I will be there, again, in person event, during the time that I will be there, that's when fragments of Lemuria will be under that portion of the tectonic plate. The potentiality for healing, messianic level healing, the potentiality for mind boggling level manifestation. Just so you guys know, what I'm teaching is from my personal experiences. It is teaching you from what I've been able to do, the type of change I've been able to initiate for my clients through their private sessions. Did you know I was able to lose 100 pounds in 3 months with no effort? I simply began eating for my frequency. Did you know, based on eating for my frequency, I was able to put my lupus in full remission? Did you know I suffered through fibromyalgia, the worst case of fibromyalgia all my specialists had ever seen? I resolved it. I suffered for 6.5 years until I decided to resolve it. So many other things that I've done for myself and also for my clients. I'm going to be teaching all of that. Did you know for the soul based business portion, I started my business in a parking lot, stranded. I was homeless with my family in a parking lot. I only had $30 to invest, and I made it happen. That was back in 2017. That business is still running. And from that business, I was able to cleave multiple other businesses, including a faith based organization with nonprofit status, easily. You know how long it takes most people to establish nonprofit status? On average, I think it's like 18 months. I did it in a week, simply listening to soul. One of my most favorite stories to share. Um, a really good friend of mine, he was in a dire circumstance. 2020 happened. They were closing down airports. He reached out to me and he was like, I think I'm going to go home. He had gone to a completely different country because he was instructed by his soul. He didn't realize this. He was trying to enter into an industry that he didn't have official experience with. I mean, he had experience, he's a genius. And I gave him the first official soul based business mentorship. And I told him what his soul was communicating and what the options are, and some of the options that he's considering. These are the roots of it. And then I set him loose to make his own decision. I did not check in, I did not follow up, nothing. He made his own decisions and he chose to listen to his soul. He reached out to me again a few months later. Do you know what he messaged me? The links. The links for what? Within a few months, he was featured on Forbes magazine. He was featured on CNBC. He was featured on MSNBC and a whole bunch of other major news outlets. He made that happen. All I had to do was give him clarity on what his soul was expressing. Do you know how many people I've been able to do this type of thing for? Do you know how much a private soul-based business mentorship is with me? This event is $888 for 2 days in person. I provide the food. I don't provide the lodging, but I do provide shuttle. It's $888. That's less than the cost of a private session for soul-based business. Do you know how much I charge for a whole being wellness online workshop for 4 hours? About the price of the 2-day event. You're getting these 2 events. I want to give you the opportunity to completely change your life, your health, your mindset, your trajectory. I'm very well versed in doing that for people. And no, I will not be dictating to you what you do. I will be sharing information and honoring your sovereignty, allowing you to decide which resonates, helping you to realize how you rewrite your story, how you reprogram your health. The type of life experience that I have, paired with my awareness and other gifts. It doesn't just make me formidable. It makes those who are in alignment with what I am teaching just as formidable as me. And I like that. I like that a lot. I'm not interested in being at that mountaintop by myself. What I want and what I need is for as many of you as possible to be up there with me. Because why? Because I don't want to be alone? Because I'm codependent? No. Because the more hands at the top of that mountain, the faster we can pull everyone else up with us. I want your success to come as easily as it came to me. I didn't even have to try. I simply had to go through the process of allowing myself to be who I am. This is not about teaching you how to create a character. This is about stripping you bare and having you stand naked in your truth so that you can finally see how perfectly calibrated you are for the path you were always destined to walk. I can't wait for this event. And I can't wait to see what everyone does with all the information that I share and all the opportunities they are now going to be able to create for themselves. You have so much power. You have no idea. You have so much power, and you have no idea. Come to this event. I'll give you more than just an idea. I'll help you to structure your plan and ensure your success. You still have to do the work. But because I can hear what your soul wants and is instructing you to do, all the unnecessary bullshit doesn't even touch you. That's a choice, though. You have to make that choice. I got to get going, guys. Please make sure that you like and share this video. If you haven't already followed me on my platforms, please do. If you don't know where my platforms are, you can check it out on my Hubi link in the bio of my TikTok profile. And that shows everything if you're looking for updates for events, workshops, opportunities, sales, anything like that. My Hubi link is where it will be posted. I will see you guys again very soon. Very, very soon. If you choose to follow me across my social media, just a gentle and friendly reminder, you are not my follower. You are my equal. Following me on my social media is nothing more than you identifying yourself as a member of my community. You are not a follower. Don't follow me. Walk beside me. We about to change the whole motherfucking world. And I'm here for it. All right, guys, I gotta go. I love y'all. I'll see you again very soon. Bye, everyone.